welcome back to the Ask Rebecca radio show. Thanks for joining me tonight. Hopefully everyone had a good week. Mine was a combination of emotional, peaceful, and tired. I was experiencing a little bit of fatigue. The emotional part, many of you know I have a son who struggles with addiction. It's not easy for him and definitely not easy for us either. And over the last 2 months, he disappeared, and I've secretly been sick to my core, worried about him. He's in Arizona, and I'm in Florida, and I just had no idea if he was dead or alive. I reached out to everyone I knew and went as far as even filing a missing persons report with the local police. And thankfully, when I reached out to the police, they were able to tell me they had contact with him the week prior. And I'm happy to report that he has decided to give rehab another chance. This will be the third or fourth time. And I'm very grateful to his ex-girlfriend who went looking for him on the streets, picked him up, fed him, contacted a rehab facility, and then dropped him off. I just cannot even begin to express my gratitude to her. So I wanted to give her a shout out. And I'm an extremely private person when it comes to my own personal life, and this is a subject that's very difficult for me to talk about. I'm sharing this with all of you because I'd like to ask all of my prayer warriors out there to pray for my son on his journey to recovery. Any and all prayers are appreciated, so I thank you in advance, and I will always thank you. So any love that you can send his way, I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Okay, so let's move on to tonight's predictions for this week, which run from tonight through to next Thursday, April 5th. These are general predictions for everyone in areas of work, love, finances, health, and spirituality. So the general themes. To me, this is going to be another week where you might find yourself constantly comparing yourself to others. Some of you will notice that you tend to want what others have, or you want what they've achieved, or you're just comparing yourself the way you look, or what you wear, or just any number of things that we as humans do to compare ourselves to other people. So basically, you're judging yourself and you're judging this other person. Now, some of you will notice how you're filled with envy and resentment versus celebrating their happiness with them. So most of you, I feel like, are going to contemplate this in silence. Like, you'll notice it, you'll catch yourself going, oh my gosh, I'm being like ridiculous right now. I should be happy for this person. Some of you may discuss it privately with someone that you know. And it won't really come from a judgmental or harsh perspective. It will just be more of the realization of like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm doing. Why am I doing that? And, it will only help with growth. Now, a few of you, I do feel like you'll go as far as to say something to the person that you're envying in an attempt to like make them feel bad about their joy. And then there will be those of you that are on the receiving end of this envy and resentment. And, don't take it personally and realize the bigger picture of what's happening here. And those of you who are feeling envious or resentful, just remember that anytime something good happens to anyone, it opens the doorway and strengthens the possibility for all of us to experience this. Excuse me. So, just try to keep that in perspective when you catch yourself if you do that. And really try not to be obnoxious or rude to somebody else. Let them enjoy their success. You don't know what it took for them to get there. Another theme this week you may find yourself experiencing is setting yourself free from any temptation to return to a past that's dying. So things have been changing for the better, and many of you will realize this week that you have absolutely no desire to go back to the way things used to be. So now, depending on where you are in your journey to self-discovery, awareness, and realization, you may have to get a little love smack from the divine in order for you to wake up to this realization. So be on the lookout for the divine bringing up the past in some way in your life. It could show up as old relationships, jobs, friends, living situations, old behaviors, and so on. So just be cautious of that. This week, some new doorways may open for you. For some, it could be on a spiritual level. For some, it could be literally someone holding open a door for you. And then for others, it will be new opportunities in career, love, and life in general. Now, some of you may be dealing with some unknown situations this week. To me, it feels like it will be important for you to know that there's much more to the current situation than you can presently understand. So, try to perceive the situation from the perspective of your heart's knowing, or your gut or intuition, whatever you want to call it. But try to just be an observer to what's happening, and just know that you'll get a full picture and understanding and grasp of the situation as it unfolds. I also feel most everyone will experience a heightened sense of awareness of everything around you this week. Things feel more, I feel like things will feel and look more beautiful. Things will feel more real, more authentic. And then I feel like certain things will feel like completely fake. So I kind of see like some of you looking up at the clouds and you're like, man, those clouds look like they're fake. They look like they belong in a painting. Or, you'll look at something and it just almost doesn't seem real in that way. And then some of the fakeness will be actually noticing, fake things that are not of integrity, not of truth, and you'll be aware of that as well. Now, some of you will be taking a closer look at yourselves to find the areas where you need to grow and mature. Another thing coming into your awareness this week will be about duality. For example, male, female, yin, yang, approach, avoidance. You get the idea. Basically, the opposite of, happy, sad, big, small, that sort of thing. And it's going to play like there's just too many things that could potentially come about. And I just see so many different areas. So it could just show up as your heart telling you one thing and your head another. Or it could show up for you as in love and fear. Like, where are you in life? Are you afraid of things, or are you more open to things? You'll also be taking a look at how you're making decisions and judgments. Many will realize that you have a tendency to jump to conclusions, or you're making decisions hastily based off of emotional reactions. So be prepared for situations to pop up to show you this about yourself. Several of you, I feel like you will choose to leave situations that no longer work for you. For some, there will be sadness involved with this. Just again, I can't stress it enough. Bigger picture, it's in your best interest. Know that you will be the one choosing, not someone else choosing for you. So I feel like the majority of you that are leaving situations, it's because you're choosing to. It's not that somebody's choosing to leave you. Now, of course, there will be a few of you that is the case, but overall, I feel like it's going to be you that is making that choice. Now, for those of you that are employed and have work, I feel like some of you will be facing a choice or a decision about work. You may think it's a bad choice or decision at first, but then it kind of turns out in your favor. Some of you will be tempted to start an office romance. Some of you definitely will. I do feel like things at work may be changing for some of you this week. To me, it feels like a positive change, especially if you've been working really hard and putting in extra effort. So it feels like it will be something good that's going to come your way, whether it's a raise or a promotion or, job search, you've been looking and, finally is paying off. Now, I feel like those of you who've kind of had a bad attitude, you've had a hard time staying disciplined and staying structured, maybe you've been slacking off a little bit at work. I feel like some of you could experience some repercussions from that. Some of you, I feel like it's going to be maybe like a disciplinarian type thing where maybe you get written up or you get suspended for a day. And then there's a couple of you that I feel like you may actually lose your job. If you do, stay positive and know it's working out for your highest good, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Just look at it as it's a teachable moment. For some of you, I feel like you're quitting this week. Some of you, I feel like you're going to quit out of emotion, and it'll be an emotional reaction because you're feeling bored or you're feeling underappreciated or you're just something takes you over the edge and you're just like, I'm out of here. I would just say, think before you act. My advice is always line up another job before you just quit, especially if you're the one making the choice. Like, why put yourself in a position where you're going to be struggling? Work, for those of you looking for a job, I'm just not really feeling too much happening. For those of you that are looking, again, I feel like it's going to be connected to how much effort that you've been putting into it. So if you've been busting your butt and you've been hitting the pavement, you're looking, you're applying, you're doing all this stuff, I feel like a couple of you are going to get a job, and others are going to get interviews. The rest of you, I kind of feel like, even if you have been pounding the pavement and doing all of that, I just kind of feel like it's not your time yet, and you'll be doing more of the same. You're going to be looking and applying. Love, committed dating relationships. I feel like love is really going to be center stage this week for many of you. You'll be feeling good. You'll be feeling excited. You'll have the butterflies. I feel like some of you will be meeting families for the first time. Some of you may be getting engaged. Some of you will be getting married. Just lots of good vibes in that way. And then for some of you who have been having like a little bit of a rocky period in your relationship, I just feel like a rebonding and a re-strengthening, and I just feel like things are going to be feeling better, and you'll be positive and things are headed in the right direction for you. Now, some of you, I feel like, I feel like you're going to see how others are having successful relationships around you, and you're going to realize that maybe your relationship isn't in that same type of situation. And I feel like you're going to realize that it may be time to walk away from your own relationship. I do feel like you will feel good about your choice. And I do feel like in the end, it's all going to work out. Obviously breakups are never easy, but ultimately, I just feel like it's in the best interest of everybody involved. Now, some of you will be questioning and experiencing some hesitation about something in your relationship. So whatever that is, I feel like you need to address it, but do it in a healthy way. Let's communicate openly. I statements, I feel, I like, I don't, like, I want, I love, those things. I statements, not you did this, you did that. That's blaming situation, right? Now, some of you will be clingy this week. So you might be a little clingy, might be a little needy, maybe a little bit desperate within the relationship. I would just caution you to pay attention. It's kind of a turnoff, and it has the opposite effect. So just be confident in yourself. And some couples, I feel like, are in the process of changing, and it really could be a make or break type week again. Those of you looking for love, now, for those of you that have been out and about dating and you're putting yourself out there, this is a great week. I feel like some soul connections are going to happen, and it feels like it's the real deal. I do feel like some of you will be meeting and dating someone new, and I feel like this person is going to help you work through some of your hangups. And obviously, if you're not putting yourself out there and love isn't on your radar, well, it's not going to be happening this week either, so it won't be on your radar. Although I do feel like there may be a few of you who aren't expecting to meet someone, and you will. And then a couple of you who are fresh off of breakups, I feel like you're going to be tempted to jump and rush into another relationship, like head first. And I would just say to you, really consider that. Take your time. You don't want to repeat the same mistakes. And some of you, it feels like it could be off of like an affair type situation, like you left someone for the other person that you were having an affair with. And to me, it also just feels like, that's still a new relationship. That's still not, I feel, in the best interest for you. Finances, for most of you, money matters won't matter this week because you'll be focused on other things like love. I feel like some of you may receive some negative financial news. It feels like a denial on a loan or something similar. I feel like if you can stay positive and focus on another way to accomplish your goals, you will. Health, some of you need to do some forgiveness work in order to help improve your emotional well-being. Some of you need to accept that it's okay to make mistakes or be wrong. Some of you need to stop fighting change, and some of you need to let go of anger. And all of these things will be coming up for you to deal with in order to balance out your stress levels. Oh, and some of you really, really need to pay attention to your diet, exercise, and most importantly, sleep, and keeping a positive attitude. Spirituality, I feel like a mentor may be getting ready to come into some of your lives. Don't blindly follow, question everything, listen to your heart and your intuition. Be open to new ideas and new experiences this week. That's for some of you. And then some of you may feel like taking some alone time, or what I like to call me time. I'm a huge advocate for that. So do it, enjoy it, embrace it. And I think that you'll have a successful week. Overall, it feels like it'll be a little bit of everything. So expect a little bit of, emotional highs, maybe some emotional lows, but good energy. Overall, I feel like it'll be a decent week. So that covers this week's predictions. Let's go ahead and get to tonight's caller. And I am speaking with Shar in Erie, Pennsylvania. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Feeling all right, thankfully. So how can I help you this evening?
Well, I'd just like a reading.
Okay. So for you, I kind of feel like it's a little bit of what I was just talking about. But to me, what I'm kind of feeling is stuff surrounding like partnerships. And when I say partnerships, I mean like friendships, love relationships, family relationships, maybe even work coworkers, like basically relationships as a whole. And I feel like there's some of them that are out of balance. And I feel like the give and take is out of balance, where maybe you're giving more than what you're receiving. And I feel like one of the things that maybe either you might be questioning yourself or something that you may want to consider is, are you being treated as an equal in all of your relationships?
Okay.
Does any of that relate or does it resonate with you at all?
Somewhat.
Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this. Are you currently employed?
No, I'm retired.
Okay. Because something around the work thing, I was feeling like there's something that you can do on the side where you can generate some income. And not like you've got to be making a bunch of money or anything, but I feel like to do something with your time and have like an interest, something that you could possibly do that you're, passionate about, and maybe even make a little bit of money off of it, whether it's, helping a neighbor out with the kids, or, making something like creative in nature. And then the other thing too, I was kind of wondering is, are you waiting on a decision from someone about something?
No.
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 Interesting. That might come up in the future where you are having to wait. Like, I feel like there's a situation where it kind of seems, I don't want to say stuck, but I feel like you're waiting on somebody for something, and you're not able to move forward until this person jumps on board. Love-wise, like relationships, I feel like if you are connected with someone and you're in a relationship and married, to me, again, there's something about balance in relationships and making sure that everyone's treating each other as equals. That is playing a major role in some way in your life. And if you're not aware of it, I feel like it's something that you need to become aware of. And then the other thing, I kind of feel like there's some unresolved emotional issues that may need to be dealt with, that could be affecting, like, it just feels like some emotions that you may need to allow yourself to express in order to help with your health and your overall like spiritual well-being. What I keep getting is, how do you feel about things in your life, and how do you feel about people in your life? that it will help, like if you start questioning some of these things and looking at some of your emotional parts of things, because I feel like on some level there's parts of you that is very internalized and closed off to certain things. And I feel like opening yourself up and getting more in tune with that will allow you to just feel better overall and have a more positive path ahead of you. Is any of that resonating with you?
Yes, it does. Yes. Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to talk about specifically, or have any questions that we could look at to see any like timelines for future potential stuff, or anything from the past you want to take a look at? You can basically ask me anything that you like.
Okay. Well, I've been a widow for 8 years, and I've been seeing a gentleman, and, I keep hoping to have a sign from my husband that this is okay and everything's going to be all right, and it's hard for me to move forward with this.
Oh, what's your husband's name? And I'm going to see if I can connect with him.
What is his name? Is that what you asked?
Yes, his first name.
It was Glenn.
Glenn? Okay.
Yes.
I just want to make sure I have the right person. So was Glenn, height-wise, I would say like maybe medium height, like somewhere in the 5'7", 5 to 5'10" range.
Yes.
I feel like he had a bit of a belly. Was he rounder in the middle?
No, No.
Let me see here. Let me see, because I keep seeing him in like a white shirt, some like jeans, or it looks like darker pants, and to me his belly, now I don't want to say he's like a big guy, but it just looks like his belly was bigger than like his legs, or maybe like a little pot belly or something.
Yeah.
Like a little beer belly, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, he's making me feel like he's focused on his belly for some reason. Do you know if he had any kind of hang up about his belly?
I mean, he was pretty physically fit, but he just had a little bit of a stomach, that it wasn't anything huge or anything like that.
I think it's just because the way he's making me feel is like, yeah, he was fit, and like you said, I feel like he was strong, and he was very physical in nature, but I feel like in his mind, I feel like that was his pet peeve, that he had a little bit of a belly. Like, for him, like, he's making me feel like he wanted to look like he did when he was younger.
Okay.
Now, I just want to see if he'll tell me something a little more specific about himself, so that we can make absolutely sure that I'm talking to the right person here. Do you have a picture of the two of you in your bedroom somewhere? Like on a nightstand or a counter, or something elevated?
It's hanging on the wall.
It's hanging on the wall. Okay. Yeah. So he's confirming that he comes he's in the bedroom with you a lot. So I'm going to ask him now about you moving forward in your life. And he's giving his blessing, and he's telling me that he's going to give you a sign, because you've been asking for a sign, and he says he's been practicing to try to figure out how, would he say the word hell? Because he's saying, I'm trying to figure out how in the hell I'm going to give her a sign. Shar, are you still there?
Yes.
Did you hear that part?
I did.
Okay, would he use that word? Like, does that sound like him?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So he's giving his blessing. He wants you to be happy. He loves you. He's saying even though he didn't necessarily always show you that love or say it outwardly as often as he should have, but he wants you to be happy. The guy, I only have 2 minutes left, but he's saying the guy that you are hanging out with, he's saying like he's a stand-up guy.
Okay.
He feels like he's a stand-up guy. And he's promising, he's saying, I promise that I'm going to give her a sign. And he's going to give you the sign in the bedroom. Like it's going to be in your bedroom. You're going to know it when you feel it and when you see it.
Okay.
I feel what I kind of feel like it is, and what I think I'm interpreting from him is like you're going to feel him sit on the bed.
Okay.
Okay? So don't be afraid when you experience that. And he's making me feel like he's always around you. And there's something about the kitchen too, and I only have 60 seconds, but did you guys used to like cook together or do something in the kitchen together?
He liked to cook.
He liked to cook. Okay, so
Yes.
He's all about the kitchen. So he said you could find him in the kitchen sometimes too. So if you start hearing like drawers or hearing like silverware or whatever he used to tinker with in the kitchen to cook, he said that you might hear that as well. He's working on it. Shar, thank you so much for calling in. I have got to go. I got 30 seconds. That's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I look forward to connecting with you next week. Good night.